Hey loves, it's Britt, and in this video I wanted to talk about Mars trine or sextile to the ascendant in synastry. So you guys have been requesting this one, and I can see why. I would describe these aspects as a very okayness in each other's impulsiveness and expression. Mars and the Ascendant are essentially very compatible points because, the Ascendant and the first house, is ruled by Mars naturally, and it's like our outward expression, the most outward, of the chart, and the most seen as well. So it's really, when we have a nice flowing aspect like this, there's a lot of mutual agreement of how the other person reacts impulsively, because Mars is also, a very primal, instinctual part of us, a little bit more fiery and feisty, right? Mars is the warrior. But with these aspects, there is a general compatibility in how we act, right? It's not identical. And even with the sextile, there is more differences that kind of make it sparkly and exciting. But it's compatible enough with these aspects that there's a lot of appreciation of each other's masculine qualities, specifically the ascendant person seeing the Mars person as kind of a more masculine or go-getter type of person. They can definitely interpret the Mars person as being quite busy and active and physical. My mother's Mars sextiles my ascendant, and my interpretation of her always when I was young and everything, it's also conjunct my Uranus too, but she was always really into fitness and always working out and always teaching me all these different kinds of sports. She taught me skiing and then water skiing, and she was just very physical, and even though I'm the Aries rising, I definitely feel like I felt that from her more, and now I'm also very much like that too, very physical, very athletic. But there's a real seeing in each other Mars qualities, and seeing in each other someone who we can partner with and get stuff done. And if there's something we need to work on, it's we have a task, we can work on the task in a compatible way. Now, whenever you have an aspect to the ascendant, you're always going to have an aspect to the descendant, so the seventh house cusp. So with Mars trine the ascendant, Mars is going to be sextile the descendant, and then the reverse is also true with Mars sextile the ascendant, then Mars is going to be trine the descendant. So what this means is we are compatible in expression, but also in our idea of relationships. The seventh house is all types of relationships. Romantic relationships are also included, but it's actually just how we relate to all people of the world. And there's a real partnering energy when we have a trine or a sextile to the ascendant, because it's also aspecting the descendant in that very harmonious way as well. So that is also a part of the collaborative energy that we have here with these aspects, is that we see someone who we are willing to relate with in a way that is very flowing, very easy, very natural. Now, things can still get a little bit spicy, right? We are dealing with Mars. The Mars person can be more of the pursuer too in this case. So it's not a mild, you can't really have a mild Mars aspect. When Mars is being touched, they're getting activated. And if it's a romantic relationship, they're getting turned on, they're getting stimulated into action by the ascendant person, and there can be a lot of physical or sexual compatibility as well, similarly to Mars conjunct the ascendant, and but not quite as powerful. It's something that we're more willing to kind of keep at bay. We don't necessarily need to pounce on this person. We can actually focus on the task that needs to be done. rather than the conjunction can be quite powerful, where it's like, whoa, we feel sexual feelings we need to act on immediately as the Mars person. This is similar, but more gentle, more harmonious, right? When we're dealing with the harmonious aspects. Now, you guys have asked me about Mars opposite to the Ascendant in Synastry too. It's pretty much similar or the same to Mars in the 7th house, which I do have a video on. But the Trine and Sextile can't really be put into any certain house. Although, of course, Trines have a 5th house and a 9th house energy. Sextiles have a 3rd, 11th house energy, right? But they're not always, depending on which house system you use, going to fall in those specific houses. But yeah, these aspects are lovely. There's not really anything bad you could say about it, except it's still Mars, so things are still going to get spicy or heated or hot, but it's motivating. It's very favorable for physicality, like I said, like workout buddies, working together on any sort of project, and feeling a high degree of physical compatibility and compatibility in our primal, more self-centered urges. We're not going to really bother each other when we're going out for ourself. Like, we're not going to see each other as selfish if we are doing what we need to do to get our needs met. Whereas sometimes with Mars squares, or Mars oppositions, the Mars person is seen as incredibly selfish and rude and blunt, and but in these aspects, we're very much respecting those impulses. And the Ascendant person could really feel like, like the Mars person is like the hunter, like they're gonna go hunt the animal and bring home the food, and they're quite all right with that, if like, that's just an example. Obviously, most people aren't hunting their own food. I mean, some people are, but if this aspect was happening in that case, the Ascendant person would love that and not be offended by it. They would feel like, wow, that's very masculine, and I feel taken care of by that person. And it's like, agreement over these primal things in life. And so it is a really good indicator of like basic compatibility in marriages and long-term relationships that do actually function decently well. You're going to see a lot of trines and sextiles to the Ascendant. And maybe it's not something I've talked about enough because I've been focused on other aspects, but trines and sextiles to the Ascendant are what's up. They are awesome, and they are very commonly, I do a lot of synastry readings, they're very commonly showing up in relationships that are actually compatible and very favorable for both people and helpful for both people. And there is that long-term compatibility because the 7th house is always involved, but then there is this very natural acceptance of each other's expression. And the Mars person really finds the Ascendant person to be just absolutely delightful and interesting and stimulating, and just, in a very instinctual way, they judge them as everything that's good and right in the world. So there's kind of that type of judgment going in a very intuitive or instinctual way back and forth with these aspects. So yeah, it's great. I'd love to know your experience of these aspects. If you have either one in synastry, how has it been for you? I'd love to know. I'd love to hear about it. And thank you so much for the request, you guys. This one was requested a lot. And so yeah, keep those requests coming. I love to see all your requests. Even if I don't do them right away, they're all saved. And then it's like when the inspiration strikes, or when I feel like I know enough about a certain aspect, or I have enough personal experience. Like, I don't want to just talk from my books, although I do have some amazing books that I do refer to when I'm doing videos like this, but I want to really like have the experiential knowledge of an aspect before I talk about it. So if it seems like some of your requests are taking a little longer for me, it's because I'm still meditating on it and perfecting it for you guys, because I love you guys. I want to do the best that I feel like I'm capable of doing with all my videos. So anyways, sending you big Hugs, and we'll talk soon.